So me and this guy were actually on and off from when I was, so we were on and off from when I was 16, and it was like I liked him, we liked each other. It was evident that we liked each other, but there was just the wrong timing. It was always the wrong timing, and we would spend time to be together, and then we would sleep together, and then I would regret it, and I would run out the door and like, why on earth did I just do that? This time felt different. So intentionally, I didn't want anything, but for some reason we rekindled. We both were going through the same thing. His partner at the time cheated on him. My partner obviously at the time cheated on me, messed me up, and we were just confining each other. It was nice. It was nice to have someone that could understand what you're going through and knows the pain that you're feeling. But then misery attracts company, as you know. We're craving attention, we're craving companionship, and we started hanging around with each other a lot, and then we were traveling, and then we were pretty much in a relationship. We were together, got together far too quickly. We were sleeping together, traveling. It was great. It was the whole situation. It was great. I felt, you know what, this feels different. I think we can do this. It feels different compared to the other times, but it didn't work out that way. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. We'll go down memory lane today. Come to find out that he's still involved with his ex. There's a lot of unfinished business there. I don't know the extent to it, but he did lie to me. He did lie to me about situations in regards to them, and knowing me since I was 16, he knows everything I've been through. So to lie to me in regards to having an ex around, it just hurt me. And the way I forgive him, we are good, but I loved this guy at the time. And I don't know if it was because it was an old flame that rekindled, and I feel like it developed and matured, and it was ready to investigate, to venture. But I don't know what it was, but I think it was just a mixture of a lot of hurt, a lot of undealt and unforgiveness from previous situations, and a lot of jumping into it, the hastiness, the love, the feeling of needing somebody. I realized that I always needed somebody there. There was never a break. So yeah, me and him had this very big argument. I found out that the ex was still involved. I was really hurt. We had a discussion about it, and then we just went our separate ways. And it just got to the point where I was seeking revenge. I was angry. I was very angry. And I was like, you know what, forget this. But oddly enough, in the midst before all of this, it was like God, listen, this is the intentionality of God, right? He had me set up, ready to catch me. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. He set me up, ready to catch me. Like, this situation had happened. I was literally on the edge of, like, I had enough. I was on the edge of breakdown. I was like, Lord, I can't take this anymore. I didn't even know Lord at the time. I think I was just crying out, and God perceived it the way he perceived it. But he brought me to church a month before that big breakup. You see the safety net. I'm gonna cry. I went to church. I felt the urge to go to church. In the midst of all this, I was still going through it. I was still upset. I needed something different. I got to the point where I was like, I am tired. I can't do this on my own. I need God. I need something else. And the urge to go to church just came over me. I was like, I want to go to church. I don't know why, but I feel the need to go to church. So, to my birthday, 2017, I decided to get my hair done. Some first time getting a weave, you know, hi. And I contacted this lady that does hair. And she came to my house, we were talking, and she was telling me about the church that she goes to. Listen, when I tell you, God is so intentional, and you're probably going to hear me say this word about 600 million times throughout this video, but he is. He knows what you need before you need it. He sends his vessels. He sends willing vessels. He sends people that don't even know they're being used. God can use a donkey, a bush. He uses whatever he likes to get to you. In this case, God used a weaving lady, a lady that was in church already. There we go. There's the segue for me to come into church. So she was sitting down. She comes to my house. She's a lovely lady, beautiful soul. And she tells me about everything that she's been through. And it's like, I feel like I've known this girl my whole life. She's been through the exact same thing I'm going through. And then I sit back and think, every woman has been through some sort of situation. And it's like, that seems to be the reoccurring situation. But yeah, she invited me to church, and in this point I felt like I had a friend for life. It was amazing. So I started going to church. It was great. I didn't really understand it, but hey, here's the funny part. The first time I went to church, an experience happened with God, and it scared me, and I never went back. I'm like, God, I think you came a bit too quickly, too abrupt with that situation. But it's fine, because in that situation, in 2019, you set that seed. A seed was planted then. A healthy, godly seed was planted in 2009. For then, 8 years later, to grow and be like, yo, I'm ready to come back to my father. You feel me? I need a reamp. I need a re-up. I need a recharge. I need a boost. So, yeah, so I come to church now. It's great. I'm having a feel for it, but in the midst of me coming in April, May, June, we break up. We go through that horrible situation. I find myself at church hungering for release. I'm at the altar. I get scared. I was like, initially I felt a tug to go to the altar, and I was a bit nervous because like, I don't want people looking at me. I don't want people like, again, caring far too much what people think. And I fell on the floor, like, God touched me. Oh, I go, like, and that happened so many times. I was like, you know what, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore because people are going to think something's wrong with me, but I don't care. Never fear having an encounter with God. The church is the hospital. It's there to heal you, to help you overcome what you're going through, to develop you into who you need to be, to release you from what you're going through. Never be ashamed of having an encounter with God, whether it be in private or public. That is your space, your time for healing. And don't let anyone ever take that away from you. And this, in the midst of this is what I allowed to happen. So, moving on to the next encounter. So it's a godly man now, very handsome, very lovely guy, and I was introduced. I don't know why I keep looking at the windows. Lovely scenery, but yeah, it's a very lovely, interesting, godly man, and I didn't notice him at first, and he was introduced to me through the girl who invited me to church. Yeah, so I didn't know him at first, but apparently he saw me before I saw him, and I was like, alright, cool, bless. And so the girl that invited me to church, she was like, oh, Keisha, do you like that guy? And I was like, who? She's like, oh, the lead singer. I was like, oh yeah, he's cute, he's good looking, yeah. And then Keisha got a bit interested, so she goes on Instagram, as you do, trying to stalk, no, I'm joking, trying to find the brother, and found him, and I added him, and then he inboxed me, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't have the inbox, that's great. So he inboxes me, and he's like, oh, I'm sure I know you from somewhere. You know, they go one line, they're like, oh, I'm sure. I was like, yes, I go to your church, blah, blah, you see me every day. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm sure. I said, I know you. He goes, oh yeah, I go to your church. You know, when you I know it sounds so weird saying it this way, but you know, you just get some fresh meat. No, I'm joking. When you just encounter someone new, it's such a lovely, It's such a lovely experience. So yeah, so we started talking and it was great. Like, me and him got on a house on welfare, like we bounced off each other. But do you know what's funny? I didn't like him at first. Like, he annoyed me. Like, oh my days, he annoyed me. I think in the midst of that there, I was very honest with him. I told him I just gotten out of a relationship. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to rush into anything. Like, I was 100% honest with him from the get-go. Like, I told him what it was. And in that moment, you should really be like, all right, cool. But no, not just him, me as well. Like, you should be like, all right, cool. Let's come away. Let's allow you to, and then come back and reevaluate a few months down the line. Yeah, we didn't do that. I think we enjoyed each other's company so much. Like, he'll come pick me up. We'll go on dates. We'll go out. We'll go out the city. We just had a great time. But in the midst of it, from, let's say, so me and the last partner broke up in May. Then me and this guy started talking in end of June, beginning of July. So July, August, September, I was very rocky. I was still talking to my ex. I was talking to this guy. I told him what it was from the get-go. I then went on holiday and I just absolutely had an amazing time. I started talking to a guy out there, and me and him are actually cool to this day. And when I came back, I even told the guy that from church that I met someone out there as well. Like, I was completely 100% honest with this guy about what was happening. And then something really hit me, and he said, I'm scared that I'm gonna fall for you harder than you're gonna fall for me. And when I tell you, that brought it home for me, you know, because it reminded me of that girl that I was. That girl that didn't care, that girl that would just do whatever she wanted. That girl was a man eater. Basically, it's what my friends call me. You're a man eater because you always get man. Like, I didn't care who or what I was hurting as long as I got what I wanted. And it's like, in the midst of the situation, I was being that girl again. That girl was emerging again. I was talking to whoever I wanted to talk to, and I justified it with being honest. And honesty is great, but if it's done correctly, you just say it just to say it. Well, I'm saying it, I'm being honest. I've told him he can do with what he wants with the information, and it's like, you're being kind of harsh right now. So that kind of humbled me. That brought me back down to earth and made me realize, like, yo, you need to make a decision. You need to step away from the whole situation. At this point, me and my ex weren't involved. It was just, that's where my heart was. And if I'm talking to this guy, and then I went on holiday, and then I met another guy, it was like, girl, you need to stop. So I cut it off come October. I cut it off with my ex, and then I also cut it off with, I didn't really have anything going on. Like, me and the guy who I met on holiday, we were talking, but there were red flags there. He was supposed to move to America. He was still, again, his ex was, we were out one time and his ex was flagging up on his phone. I'm just like, no, I'm not even trying to do this right now. I am not trying to get back into that situation. So I just said to him, I'm not sure. I was honest with him. I said, I'm not sure what I want right now. I need to take some space and step back and just reevaluate and sort myself out. Also, you're supposed to be going to America, and your girlfriend, your ex, keeps flagging up on your phone, and I'm not sure if I can handle that. Honest with him. And then I just cut off everything. And then come beginning of November, end of October, beginning of November, I made a conscious decision. I was like, you know what, I want to be with the guy from church. So I closed off that. I goes, you know what, I want to be with this guy. And I felt that he wanted to be with me too. And the girl who introduced me, she had told me prior that he said if that girl ever gave me a chance, because I don't know what this was, right? Because I can remember how I was in a hotel, we were out for a church event, and I was speaking to her, and I was like, I'm not sure if I want to be with this guy. Like, I can't really see myself. I don't know, there's something about me, he kind of annoys me, he's a bit over the top and he just stresses out for no reason. It's like, relax your batty cheeks, like relax. And then she said to me, Keisha, like, he really likes you. He said he can see you and him being together. And it's like, you know, I do really like this guy. He's so lovely and he's the complete opposite to what I'm used to. And it's like, you know what, Keisha, give him a chance. And then she said this to me, and I don't know if this, see with this, right, I'm not sure if it was, this didn't make me stay. This didn't justify the reason, but she said to me, Keisha, he said to his brother, if that girl ever gave me a chance, I would marry her. I was like, raw. Because our mind's got to be very, very well sure. Our mind's got to be sure to say something like that. So a few weeks down the line, I goes, you know what? I've just made the decision. I'm going to be with this guy. And it was going great. It was going great. Like, we got on great. We helped each other. I helped him lose weight. He helped me with my communication. He helped me maintain my weight loss. We were like yin and yang. We bounced off each other. Helped him with his work, he helped me with my work, he helped me. Listen, like I said, we just helped each other. It was a really good situation. Like, and he's the only guy. Listen, when I tell you, the man's got taste. Like, he dresses well, he can sing, like, he was very well put together. But I saw certain things creep up as he was losing weight. Like, he started to, but yeah, we'll get into that. And yeah, like I said, he's well put together. He's just all around great guy. And then December 2018, a lot had happened especially in regards to the girl that introduced me to church. Now, this isn't no way of me bashing anybody down, because this is not the intentionality of this situation. It's just me revealing my truth and showing you what God has brought me through. It was very hot and cold with this person. I could never really understand certain things, and there were certain things that I did that I never really understood why I did them. And because I wasn't used to having a friendship, I tried to hold on to the situation. I tried to, because of the situation that we were in, I tried to be loyal to the guy that I was with, be loyal, maintain the friendship that I had, and not upset the partner she was with. And it always came back to me just not, the healthy medium that I tried to maintain just wasn't, because there was a lot of manipulation on her behalf to get things out of me. And me, I was a bit oblivious. Like, I was a bit lapsy-lapsy at the time. She would ask me certain things and I would just say it and not realising, oh snap, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But it seemed like an innocent situation, but I don't know what was happening on her side of the situation, if that makes sense. So it came back to me looking like this whole snake trying to make trouble, or this situation. I'm like, well, why would she put me in this situation? And the amount of times I was thrown under the bus was just like, raw, okay, right, okay, cool. So, but then, like I said, I can't sit here and act like I'm an angel, because I'm not. Because as much as she did it to me, I did it to her. And the one thing that I regret, and like I said, me and him were fine. We never really argued over our situation. The only one thing that he got annoyed at was when I would laugh when he's trying to be serious, and I'm just a nervous laugher. Like, I can't help it. If there's a situation and I get a bit anxious, I'm like, I start giggling. I can't help it. That's my like defense mechanism. But that's the only situation. That was only the real situation that happened. The only real, yeah, between me and him that happened. So everything else was on the outskirts. But like I said, you live and you learn. But yeah, so everything's great now. Like I said, me and him are going out. We're developing, we're growing as a couple, and it gets to, here we go. It gets to around March, April. Something just didn't feel right. When you know somebody, you're with somebody every single day, and you just know when something's not right. And he was being a bit distant. He wouldn't really hug me. It just didn't, something was just off. An occasion where he was on the sofa and I was packing my bag, and he was on the sofa. I think he was on the phone to someone, and then he had two phones, and he left one phone and he went into the back. and someone just said, just check my phone. And I was like, is the devil? But it just felt I needed to know it. So I went over to his phone and I opened it, and there was a message from a female, from a young lady. Bear in mind, it's the lady who he's with now, but it's a young lady on the phone. The conversation was innocent, but you know when your womanly instinct is just like, yeah, Keisha, something's not right here. Something is not right here. So after our trip, the conversation just took a 360. Like, he was talking about breaking up, and he was using my situation against me. And in the midst of that, my mom had kicked me out. I was homeless. I was homeless for about 5 months, bouncing from pillar to post. So in the midst of all this, me and him talking about breaking up with me, and he was using my situation against me to get out of it. He then lied and said that his family didn't approve of me, and that was never the case. He just needed a situation, he just needed to get out of it. And then we meet up a few days later and we discussed, because I was just confused. I was like, well, what's going on? And he was talking about marriage and marrying me, and even prior to all this, months back, he was saying how much is an engagement ring. Like, I'm thinking, I wasn't getting my hopes up. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this man wants to marry me. Like, obviously not anytime soon, but he's thinking about it. So I was like, all right, cool. And then in the midst of the breakup, he's still talking about marriage. Like, we were talking about the wedding. Like, the one thing that he said that stuck with me: don't wear your shoes to the wedding, don't wear heels to the wedding. And I was just like, why are you talking about marriage if you're breaking up with me? Like, is that the biggest mind game ever now? And I have a discussion with my mom in regards to what had happened. One, mine and her issues, why she kicked me out, what we needed to repair, then eventually about why she didn't like the guy that I was with. We hashed everything out, and to my surprise, she approved. Like, she says, if it's the guy you want to be with, then go ahead, because he said his fears were that my mum and everybody wouldn't approve. But this is the situation that he used to get out of it. So I'm excited. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because I was scared. I was like, oh my gosh, my mum's never going to approve of the situation. Like, she's not going to approve of this. Like, I've lost him, we're over. And he kept saying, oh, end of an era. I'm just like, why are you not fighting for this? And it just again made me realize, like, something's not right here. Something's really not right. And then he's using situations that he had told me that he used on girls when he broke up with them. It's just like, I have a very good memory, you know, bro. Like, you have told me this in the past. And I'm sitting here like, but you told me that when you broke up with so-and-so. But you told me that when you broke up with so-and-so. And that's what you did when you broke up with so-and-so. And it's just like, okay, you're breaking up with me for a reason here. So, when I get back now, I come, I'm ecstatic. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, my mum's approved. And he is like, I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. When he said that, I was like, nah, there's someone else. There's someone else, and you're just trying to look for a way out. You're just trying to look for a way out. And then, fast forward, we broke up. And when I tell you, that was probably the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Like, I think I only known this man for a minute, but when I finally let my guard down and let him in, and for him to, now, what I'm not trying to do is make people think that the church is going to hurt you. Like, that's never the intention. That is never the intention. And I've experienced 3 types of men. And in relation to what had happened to me, a lot of people don't know themselves. A lot of people haven't fully surrendered. In regards to men, like men, a lot of men that haven't fully surrendered themselves to God. So we break up now, and I thought it's the worst heartbreak I've ever experienced. Like, I cried so much the day after we broke up. You know what's Oh my days, I'm surprised I didn't pass out with dehydration. Like, you know them sun towels that you lay on in the beach? That whole thing was wet, like it was drenched. I've never cried and blown my nose so many times in my life. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And from that, I did not think I would ever come around. And this is probably the biggest, and I don't ever want to make the person feel bad for hearing this if he ever comes across this video. That's never my intention. It's just me revealing my truth and showing the goodness of God throughout my life. Like, this was the verge of breakdown for me. I was homeless, I was broke, I now was single, I had nobody in my life, my friends were just, I don't know. And in the midst of this breakup, I hurt a lot of people. So and again, this is the situation where it says hurt people hurt people. I revealed something that should have been revealed, but not in the way it was revealed. And I held back information in regards to a friend, to the girl that brought me to church, regards to infidelity in her situation, and for that I am truly sorry. That's one thing that really broke me, because obviously when you come down off that high of revenge and not caring what people think and dragging people under the bus, forgetting that happened to you. Remember how people made you feel in that situation. That's something I never want to do ever again. Like, that situation there scarred me. To know that you became that person again, to know that I became that person again for the 4th, 5th, 6th time of saying things, whatever, because I was hurting and I didn't care what people think. I don't care how I made people feel because I'm hurting. Like, that really, 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 really made me feel bad, and it damaged mine and that girl's situation. It damaged it, but like I said, I'm not trying to be playing the victim. There was damage on both sides, but that was the end of that situation. And she couldn't trust me, I couldn't trust her, and there was just a lot of conflict. And because of that situation, she didn't feel, let me say this correctly, I felt like she didn't feel there was loyalty towards me, but it is what it is at the end of the day, because it happened. So it wasn't supposed to be a long-term friendship. I see that now. But in regards to that person, I am truly sorry, and I hope you genuinely forgive me one day. If not, it's okay. But in the midst of this breakup, I fall back into my old ways. I am calling up exes, I am trying to fill the void, I'm trying to suppress the pain, I'm trying to move forward without actually having to deal with it. And it didn't work. I was drinking, I was going out, I was having sex, I was doing what the heck I wanted to do to try and numb this pain. And all it did was that, suppress. And then when your reality came back and it wanted to resurface, I suppressed it again, and it was just a constant, and I just couldn't. And I was indulging in materialistic things. I was trying to make the person say, well, look, I'm happy, I've got all this, like, I don't need you. I was trying to get his attention. I knew hair, new shoes, new what, everything. I was trying to get his attention, but and then I had the outbursts of, I need to talk to you, and then, you know what, I hate you, and I can't believe you did this to me. And again, the emotions, because I didn't deal with them effectively. The suppression that I allowed to happen in the course of the midst of the breakup, then the outrage, the outburst that then reoccurred after that, it just made me look like a crazy person. But I'm only human. I've never experienced pain like that before. So again, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. I'm just revealing my testimony, my truth. This pain made me act this way. The devil is, I can't stand him, but I'm thankful for these exposures. I am thankful for these experiences, because again, like I said, without them, I wouldn't be who I am now. And that's a very well-grounded, humble, content young lady, godly lady who still makes mistakes. It's progression. I'm still progressing. There's still things that need to be done, but I'm getting there. So after all this now, me and the girl tried to rekindle our situation, but again, like I said, it's not 100% where it is. So the next year comes now, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm getting better. Bear in mind, I'm still at church and having to see this man every single day. I didn't leave the church. I'm like, God, I'm leaving. And God's like, be still, stay. I'm like, what do you mean stay? I'm not staying. And it's funny because every ounce of me tried to leave. I told all my ministries, like, I'm taking a break. I told them I was at work all the time. No, God would pull me back into ministry. God would change my rota at work. He'll pull me to church. Like, he did not let me leave church at all. He would not let me leave it. And I understand now why he made me go through that, because there was a work for me to do. But I had to go through that for this testimony. I had to go through that. My testimony was the end of that. That was the last part of my testimony in regards to, I had to go through that. So I was like, you know what, fine, I'll stay. But I'm glad I did. If you can't confront what has taken you through the trails, what has pulled you through the ground, what has pulled you through the forest, or what has pulled you through the gravel, boldly stand right in front of it and know that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I trust and lean not on my own understanding as to why I have to stay here, but know that God supplies all my needs. That's what that situation did. It strengthened me. It built me. It allowed me to see things for what they are. It developed gifts. It developed trust, and it developed a relationship with God. Don't underestimate your situation that you're in right now. It can take you where you need to be. But we have the inability to stay in the middle of situations. We know the beginning and we want to see the end, but we don't thrive to stay in the middle of things. And that's where Michael Todd just did an amazing sermon on in the middle. The 24 hours of in the middle, when the disciples were wondering, what are they going to do right now? Their savior has just died. What are they going to do? And this is a situation with some people. You've just lost something. You've been in a relationship. You've lost a marriage. Your business has fell down. You're not sure what's going on. Again, with this whole corona situation, we're in the middle of something. We don't know what's going on. He has the answers to what you need. You just need to hold on to him. Hold on in the midst of the storm. Jesus was at the bottom of the boat, sleeping, like, big man, wake up, like, there's a breeze, wake up, like, I need you. Listen, the man was sleeping and woke up and said, peace be still. Hold on to those words in the midst of the storm. Peace be still, because the proof of that presence of God is not the absence of the storm, but the proof of the presence of God within the storm. The storm is not going to go. You're just going to get stronger. Do not take your focus off the Lord. Peter took his focus off the Lord. Be like Peter. Get out of the boat. It's time to get out the boat. Walk, Peter. Don't take your focus off God. The devil is in the midst of mass distraction, right? The distraction right now that he's trying to place in your life is just, it's going to throw you. But you stay focused on God. Keep walking. You won't sink. And if you do sink, he's going to grab you. I told you, he knows your knees before you know it. Faith the size of a mustard seed will get you afar. Faith is the substance of things not seen. Hold on to the word of the Lord. So yes. So in the midst of me being at church now, I'm having to see my ex at church. That alone is a test. Like, seeing the man that left you, knowing it was for somebody else. And then what happens? The woman comes to church. So now I've got to sit here and watch the man that I loved with another woman that he left me for. Like, what? I'm supposed to do what? I'm like, Jesus, listen, no, you need to put in my transfer papers like yesterday. I'm going. I can't sit here. I can't do it. You told me to stay here in the midst of the breakup. Alright, cool. I felt myself getting stronger. But now you want me to stay here when the girl is... Are you bad? Like, I love you. I respect you. But bro, this is madness. Madness. But yeah, that was hard. That was very hard. And bear in mind, this only happened last year, you know, bro. What? This only happened, bro. Happened last year. And then, but it developed, like I said, it developed strength, it developed understanding, it developed gifts, trust, and the most important, my relationship with God. Like, I trust him so much. I hear him very clearly. And it was just, it's been a ride. It has been a ride. When I tell you, this is what I'm saying, when in my last video, when I told you that I've been through some stuff, and in the midst of it, I know God has always been there. His hand has been on my life. His hand has always been on my life. So, yeah. And then the icing on top of the cake, they got engaged. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It hurt me. It really did hurt me, because it was like, when you think that you're over something and it's like, enemy's like, whoop, nope, you've got one more thing. I'm going to just do this. I'm not saying it's enemy. I'm just saying there's one more thing that would just be like, it's going to push you over the edge. And it's like, no, I'm not about to do this again. But I'm happy for him, and I hope nothing against anybody. Like I said, I forgive. I've moved on. I'm on my own journey right now with God, and I have nothing against anybody. But and then an interesting situation happened. So after that breakup and hearing that, I think, yeah, so back in 2018, towards the end, I made a decision. I go, you know what, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not falling, I'm breaking these generational curses, these generational cycles, because I see the things that I've been through, my mom's been through as well, to a certain extent. Not to the extent I've been through, because why, I was on a madness. But anyway, so like, once you get to a point, thank you Jesus for reminding me of that. Once you get to a point of healing, don't be judging people that are going through the exact same thing you went through. Like, you know, you were backing it up in the club. You know that you were out there chatting to every and any man. You were out there doing stuff. So don't turn your nose up at somebody who's doing the exact same thing. And I did that. I thought I was holier than thou at one point. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't look at them. I was very religious. This is the thing. I was very religious. I was like, oh my gosh, they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing this. Like, bear in mind, Keisha, like, when you first come to church, you would go to church and then go home to your boyfriend and have sex. Like, you were no different. So don't condemn people, because we all fall short of the glory of God. You're supposed to lift your brother and sister up in Christ. Okay, I went through that. I know how that goes, how that happens. I went through that. I know how that occurs. This is how I got over it. No longer will I sit here with the antidote to help people and not give it to them. You have the ability to help people. Your testimony has the ability to help people. And once you get over the embarrassment of what you went through, like, I will no longer sit here and judge people. This is where the fear comes from when people come into church, like new people come into church. They don't want to get judged. I got judged straight away. I remember I wore a baby blue shirt and some white tight jeans. They were very tight, like you could see everything. And I didn't realise that my thong, I didn't realise that my underwear was showing a bit. And people were just looking at me like, cover that up, cover that up. And I was just like, instead of making me feel ashamed, just say, sis, I'm going to put my coat here just to cover up because your underwear is showing a bit. That's fine. The trousers were probably just too small at the time. I don't know. But don't make people feel uncomfortable. You were once that person that needed to be saved. You were once that person that needed help. Like, don't ever be afraid of your testimony. And this is what happened a lot, especially at the church. We had a lot of items, and items would be seeing how far God has brought us. And even in the midst of that, people will try and suppress my testimony. Like, no, I have a testimony. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to help people. I don't care what people think about me, and I don't care if people judge me, because that's between you and God. You got a judgmental spirit in you. All right, hold tight, you in it. That's between you and the Lord. Like, I'm doing what he asked me to do. I feel comfortable in myself, in my relationship, in my development with God, to sit here and be like, yo, I'm ready to do this. And this is how I know I'm ready, because God is sitting me here, and even doing that little intro video reminded me that, let me know that I am stronger than I used to be. I'm not that girl I used to be. I'm a far better new creation in the eyes of the Lord, and I am out here ready to help people with my testimony. And it's like the amount of hardship and the pain that you've been through, that's not your best days. Even after you come over that, that's not your best days. That's just the start. So keep diving into God, keep understanding that, and I hope you understand that everything has a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and it's to develop you. Now I can talk about what happened after that. There was a moment where I backslid back into it, because again, talking to a guy, treated wrong, it was just a madness. I'm like, God, why have you let me go through this? And we always happen, and this is the test here now. You develop your relationship with God. I was genuinely at this point, I was like, you know what, I want a man, I'm okay, I want God 100%. 2019, beginning of January, I was like, God, I'm ready. First time I ever fasted. Oh my days, guys, if you haven't fasted, please do so, because it is a game changer. So yeah, so I was in a relationship with God. So yeah, developed my relationship with God even more. First time I fasted, absolutely amazing. And then this guy pops out of nowhere. I'm just like, he's telling me I'm his husband. He's telling me he's my husband. I was like, what? Because it was crazy, because he was saying things that God had told me in regards to my situation. I was like, okay, there's only one way that you can know this, and that's obviously through God and God telling you. So I'm like, at this point, again, I was still a baby in Christ, wasn't very mature, didn't really know how to discern, didn't really understand if someone said something, you need to make sure you confirm it with God and God confirms it. But because he was saying what God had already told me, I was like, oh my gosh, like, he must be. I didn't question it. And because we got on really well, it was like, yeah, it was a confusing situation, because he had just broken up with his girlfriend. Again, this whole situation with people just breaking up, it's like the devil's trying to catch me out. The devil's trying to spring me as this person that just comes in and breaks a relationship. And it's like, I've never want to be perceived like that, because that's never the case. I'm going off what the male has told me. He broke up with his girlfriend. We weren't involved. We weren't really involved. His situation was still involved with the ex. And I'm saying, okay, if they're not together anymore, I don't need to justify my situation. And she kept asking me, oh, Keisha, are you two together? And I'm just like, no, we're not. To be fair, we weren't, because he asked me to be his girlfriend after. He asked me out after. So I was like, no, we're not. And there was multiple occasions where, and it's like, Keisha, at this point, you need to realise, shame the devil and tell the truth. Shame the devil and tell the truth. I should have told the truth in the midst of that. So you can't, what is done in the dark will become to light anyway. And I'm at that point where I'm not afraid of my testimony. I'm not. It happened, it happened. It is what it is. But it happened for a reason. So me and him were really close. And it was a breath of fresh air, because it was a godly man. It was a man that knew God for himself, and the conversations that we had, oh my days, there's nothing like talking to a man that knows God for himself. Listen, I can't wait to meet my husband, because boy, that conversation is going to be something else. But yeah, and then he asked me, it moved very quickly, but it moved fast very quickly, like very quickly. I think we both, but there were red flags there, and I was trying to get out of it, but I felt bad, and he was clinging onto me very much. He was clinging onto me, and I was just very confused in that situation, because being around him, it unlocks certain gifts in life. You need to know what reason people are in your life for. Some people are here for a season, some people are here for a reason, but there are categories that people belong in. You need to make sure you put them in them categories. Me, I'm still discerning, I'm still having a discussion with God about that. But he asked me, and then everyone kept asking, Keisha, are you with this person? Are you with this person? And I got to the point where now I started to feel ashamed. And I was like, no. And I started believing my own lies. I just got so caught up in the situation, I didn't know what was right from wrong. I was still hurting. So it was hard. It was a hard situation. And then we had a moment where he asked me to marry him. He got down on one knee and I said yes. And I think I just said yes because I just got caught up. And then I regretted it literally straight after. Probably a few days later, I was like, what did I do? It just didn't feel right. And he was mean and he was aggressive, again abusive. It was just weird. And then in the midst of that, I backslid because me and him, I just said I can't do this anymore, and it just didn't feel right anyway, just of how it came together. I was like, you know what, this isn't a godly situation. God didn't ordain this. God didn't bring this together. He may have brought it to, he may have allowed it to a certain extent to develop certain things or develop skills and awareness, but the length that it went to was not God's. Like, that was me and him just getting carried away and getting all scooped up in our feelings. But yeah, so that situation damaged the friendship. And it's joking because he's actually a very nice man. But yeah, it messed up the whole situation. It was weird. So yeah, in May, I was angry at God. I was like, God, why did you allow this to happen? Like, you said you would not allow me to go for anything. You said I won't be hurt ever again, but you've allowed me to go through the situation again. Another man hurting me. But then Keisha, another man hurting me, disrespecting me, calling me out of my name, and bringing my past and flinging it against me. It's like, why must I go through this every single time? Why am I always getting... But then you have to stop and realize, again, the woman that kept emerging, the woman that was getting what she wanted, doing what she wanted, as long as she's getting what she wants, she don't care who's getting hurt. Again, happened just in a different way. And it's like these cycles that you have to realize that are within yourself, that the enemy knows. Like I said, I love that song by Jonathan McReynolds, Cycles. The devil knows your mistakes, even though the devil learns from your mistakes even when you don't. That's how he keeps you in cycles. Bro, listen, I'm tired of circles, you know. I can't operate in a circle anymore. I'm over it. I'm a generational breaker. I'm a curse breaker. Like, I can't do it anymore. I'm not moving. I'm not operating in a circle. I can't do it. I don't like shapes. But in the midst of that, I backslid. Because, one, I was ashamed of what I did. Two, I was hurt because I allowed someone to hurt me again. I'm like, God, why did you let me hurt? Why did you let me? Why did you let him hurt me? Three, of the people that I hurt. Not just the situation that I was in, the gifts that were developing, and the gifts that emerged in that season, I misused. And I was just flinging the information around that God was telling me to everybody and anybody. Like, you can't do that. You can't be so, you have to be responsible with what God has given you. You can't be so you can't be so unaware of your surroundings, the fact that you're implementing people's lives. And this is what God said to me, because Keisha, these are souls. I don't look at people as people, I look at them as souls. Like, one wrong word and you can implement their life. Like, you imprint on them, you can impact their life drastically. The power of life and death is in the power of the tongue. Don't mess around with your words, and don't just say things out of... Just be careful what you say, basically what I'm saying. So there was a lot of life lessons in this situation. Unnecessary lying, but that was stemmed from shame and development. So like I said, like, I fell back into my old ways. I was calling up exes, I was doing what I want. I lit the words I said, and listen, it breaks my heart because the amount of pain that I put Christ through. I said, you know what, I goes, F this Christian thing, I'm walking away, I'm doing what I want. Nah, baby girl. Oh wow, I'm gonna cry. I never want to put God, I never want to put Jesus through that pain ever again. Like, I don't want to hurt him, ever. I don't want to hurt him. I was doing what I want, I was going where I want, and then it was just another realization, like, okay, are you done? Are you going to come back to me now? Like, he wasn't playing with me. He was like, Keisha, listen, you need to wake up, you need to come back to me, or you're gonna regret it. And by that I mean the development, the relationship. Where I am now is, even though I'm less off, I'm more, because I have a relationship with God. Man is so patient, so generous, so loving, gives me joy in the midst of a storm. Like, you never know. You're never without with Christ. And then, so in the midst of this 2-month read, so at this point, so in July 2018, I moved back into my mum's house. Me and my mum made up after that breakup with the last guy from church, and then everything was all right. We were meant in a relationship, and then in March 2019, I left and moved in with my 2 friends, with 2 girls at the time. I left and moved in with 2 girls at the time, and that's around about the time when I backslid. And I was talking to this guy from America, like this guy that's been on I've liked since I was 18. Oh, he's so good looking. But yeah, I was planning on going over to see him, spend the summer with him. Both my exes, I was actually talking to. I was talking to an ex. Me and him were like friends with benefit type thing, and I was talking to another ex. I was just occupying my time. Holiday with this guy. I was supposed to go over to America and spend the summer with the guy from America, but then God gave me a dream, and he showed me me and him in a hotel, and the guy leaving me in the hotel, like getting up after we did what we did, driving off and leaving me in America. And at this point, financially wasn't really the best, and I was still planning to go over, by the way, with my broke bank account. By any means necessary, scraping my money together to get to this guy, just to do what I wanted to do. Yeah, I have these cycles. When I'm in pain, I just go either to the bottle or to men, to exes. I tend to do that. No, I did that. I don't do that anymore. I did that in the past. And then this is the wake-up call.